Hello, everybody. Welcome to the next session of From Nothing, Tam's story. We are going to pick up right where we left off with Tam and his party laying low. Things are a little spicy right now. And so, after all the events, you and your crew are kind of just loitering. Let me go ahead and
We
give you...
are loitering. Tam actually does have one conversation he wants to have with Kaisa over breakfast, if that's possible.
She's here, yeah. You seek her out, sure enough.
You said that you knew some things about the Red Raiders? Or Braddock's Hammer, or whatever they're calling themselves, right?
Kaisa, who, sets the mug of clava down, turns to look at you, and she says, "Yeah, a bit. I know by
I.
rumor."
Okay, so not specifics. Tam kind of clambers up on the stool. Um, I was just curious because there was somebody watching us last night. Um, and, you know, I don't know if it was necessarily them, but considering that there was someone watching us, maybe that's worth thinking about. And I just wanted to know if you maybe knew any of who might be on that team and it might match a description. But it seems like if you just know them by rumor, maybe not.
You get a good look?
Not a great look, but I saw horns and gray skin and green eyes, so probably a tiefling.
Uh, she considers for a moment. I bet that was Grin.
Grin. Okay.
One of their members is a scout, a lookout.
Hmm.
I don't remember anything about horns, but he's said to be the Gray Grin, so
Okay. So probably a rogue or something.
probably something like that.
Okay. Well, all right. Well, I'll let people know that we've got eyes on us then.
Are you
They're watching.
surprised?
No, I'm not. I'm not at all, but it's good to confirm
Yeah.
and maybe have a description of who to look out for.
Uh, what I do know from rumor is they're led by Captain Vex, and she's white hair and has an X scar off her face.
Scar on her face. And you said that she was a Gold's Watch once, right? Once, right?
Yeah, she was. I don't know what changed.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know what changed either.
They now do the Gold's Watch legwork anyway, so.
And those are Echo. This is it's just because it's been a minute for me. The Gold's Watch are the one. They're not the ones that are in the pocket of Demeric, right? It's the King's Guard that's in the pocket of Demeric.
The
Is it
Gold's Watch is Demeric's
That's Demeric's. That's
enforcement
Demeric's
team.
people. Okay,
Yes.
got it. Oh, so that's interesting then that she maybe defected. Maybe she didn't like what Demeric was doing either and decided to cut her losses.
Maybe, but they're working together anyway now, so
Yeah.
it's complex. And she takes
Yeah.
another drink.
How are you doing? I know it's been especially complex for you lately.
I'm bored. Stuck here. Waiting for things to blow over. People to stop asking my name.
Can I help?
You're stuck here too, Tam.
I know, but I happen to be a bard. I'm pretty good at providing entertainment.
If you want to play some music, that'd be great.
You got it. What do you like?
I don't know. Dealer's choice.
Okay. Uh, Tam. I mean, it's morning. I don't know how many people are around, but there is a stage, right?
Yeah, there's a small, stage is a strong word. There's like a corner table that you see the chairs are sometimes pulled away from and used as a stage. Right now, it's like that's not the case. Right now, it is set up as an actual table to be used for food, but um, like I guess the answer to your question is no. There is not a stage in Cavi's bar.
There's not like a dedicated stage, but I imagine there's like a space that Tam would have scoped out
Yeah, there's
that
like
like
a
this is.
corner,
Yeah.
like near the hearth that people you've seen minstrels busk and stuff, and
Sure. Um, okay. I think he is first gonna take a stop by Kraber if Kraber is around, to just let him know
yeah, you kind of
that,
glance in the side room, the little it's there's like the table, the fancy table that Kraber and Annabelle have all their shit laid out on,
yeah.
and they're talking and working.
Uh, hey boss,
Yeah, what can I do for
I
you, Tim?
it wasn't kind of the main thing last night because we had more pressing stuff, but we were watched last night, and it's not like totally confirmed, but I'm pretty sure that we were watched by somebody in the Red Raiders. They've got a tiefling called the Grey Grin, that it seemed like the guy that we saw was a description that matched that guy. So
Great.
we're bat. I know we're battening down already, but that might be somebody to look out for.
Uh, Alacaster looks at Annabelle and he says, "Just as a side thought, the turrets are ready, right? If there's trouble." And Annabelle just nods. I think we're squared away. I don't think they have the balls to openly attack a tavern in the center of the city, but if they do, we'll be ready for them.
Okay. Do you think they're gonna maybe try to wait us out then?
That's what I'm expecting. That's what I would do. Try and wait and see if any of us slip or leave early. If you need
Sure.
anything, we have a runner system set up with the Caraway station that if you need supplies or food aside from the normal deliveries to the bar, you let us know and we'll file it in to be smuggled. All right?
Actually, if you could get me a little bit of incense for a spell, that would be great.
How much do you need?
Just about 10 gold.
Oh, I can handle that. Don't worry about it.
Thanks.
We'll be here
He
around noon.
thanks. That's awesome. He offers because he just got paid. Like he'll hand it over. He'll pay for
He Kraber just brushes it away. Part of the job.
it. Thanks, Graver.
Mm-hmm.
Um, all right. He will make eye contact with Cavi if Cavi's here,
Oh
and
yeah.
he's gonna look. He will look at the.
So
He'll look at.
actually,
Oh,
you've noticed Cavi
mhm.
Cavendish. He normally, like during the day, when normal business hours, he looks like a human. And
Oh,
then when things get quiet, he reverts to normal tiefling form, where he has red skin and kind of like a goatee. Uh, he's in tiefling form at the moment. It seems like he's gotten much more lax since all this battening down has started to happen. You see his boots are up on the counter, and you just kind of walk up, and he says, "Yeah, can I help you, Tim?"
Hey, Cavi. Would you mind if I played a little music to liven this place up a little bit? People could.
Oh, I think we could all use a little bit of entertainment.
All right, I'm on it.
Mm-hmm.
Is his team down here? Are they still upstairs?
They're around. Like, Sagona's at the bar. You see Wash and Hiram are at a table. And Wix is, like, in the corner of the room, the far side, and is meditating.
Okay, great. Is it still raining? Is it still storming like it was last night?
It is raining. Yes, it is. I actually, thank you for reminding me. I have the music, the sound for it queued up, and I forgot to hit play.
Fantastic. That's perfect. Tam will go over and be like, "All right, everybody, let's have some fun." And he's gonna launch into the song that he wrote for Sagona, and kind of like give her a little up nod, and then take it away on his fiddle.
Okay. Roll performance.
It has he's definitely playing with Soul Singer, and it's a song. It's a newer song because he wrote it, but it has a strong chorus.
As you start playing with Soul Singer, you hear, "It feels good to sing again."
You and me both. Nat 20,
A
31.
natural 20 for a 31. Okay. The atmosphere in the tavern before you started to play was pretty dismal. The whole
Sure.
concept of things having gone awry and like bad news was brought in. People are scared. But the song for Nier, the song for Sagona, it has a catchy chorus. And firstly, when you look at Sagona, I need you to roll me an insight check.
Sure. Oh my god, another nat 20. 25.
Okay. What are these dice? Whoa, these look cool.
I don't know. I was playing with them while I was waiting for you.
That's cool. It's like got little
They're,
like writing on it.
yeah,
Okay, anyway.
they're like
Sorry.
writing for Warbard and blue for Mongoose.
So, Sagona, you get an ambiguous read on Sagona. She likes...
Even with a nat 20?
No, like, you accurately read that she feels ambiguous about this.
Interesting.
There is a shame on her face
Oh.
at the subject of Nier, whom has never responded to her. You make the connection that this song reminds her that it's only silent for her.
Yeah.
But she also feels it's like a compliment. She looks flustered because you wrote the song for her and it's beautiful and you're performing it incredibly well. She's doing her best to hide the shame, but with a nat 20, you see through it. Wash is immediately singing along with the chorus.
I love that.
The other individuals within the tavern, a lot of them are like have stopped what they were doing and are listening. A few others are also trying to like sing along with the chorus, but it is a brand new song, so they're kind of just getting like the last few words of the catchy part.
Got it.
But you have the whole tavern is trying to sing along and listening and enjoying the music.
Awesome.
You do catch Hiram bouncing his foot, which is probably the most interaction he's ever had with a song.
Demon Hiram, incredible. Yeah, he'll go from that into like sea shanties and like stuff that's fun and stuff that's interactive, and like lots of like he's gonna bring the energy up and then occasionally take it down and then bring it back up again, and he'll hold the tavern for he genuinely wants to entertain people. His goal is to get them to start requesting songs.
With a natural 20, it doesn't take long for that to happen. Like, it's literally like, well, firstly, you become very aware that, like, as soon as you've switched songs, Sagona is leading the charge when it comes to following along with the music. Awesome. You're pretty sure that just the slight heartache was giving her a damper, and as soon as it changed, she was like excited about a change of pace, basically. And then you start getting requests like, "Hey, do you know the Feast of Ashes?" and things like that.
100%.
And
Absolutely. Does anyone else have any instruments in this tavern? Will anyone play with him?
That's a good question. Do you call out like anybody want to play?
Oh,
Let's
yeah,
see.
absolutely. I'm up here by myself.
Let me see if anybody else even... Hold on. Okay. Yeah. As the bar is clearly like things are going very slowly, Cavendish stands up from behind the bar and he says, "All right, you've persuaded me." And he like reaches up behind the bar and he pulls a fiddle off of the back of a shelf. And the bartender Cavendish comes up and he plays with you.
I love that. That's awesome.
And you immediately realize he's really good.
Is he also a bard?
Roll me an insight check.
Oh, that's wild. I love it. Oh, yeah, we're back to terrible Tam insight 7.
He seems really proficient with that fiddle. He definitely has a flair that seems to you bardic. You don't know if he was a bard, but it's clear he knows how to use his instrument.
He clearly knows his instrument. Yeah, I
and he
love
clearly
that.
knows how to interact with a crowd. As
Tam lights up. I mean, like Tam would be happy to entertain. Like he loves that. He loves that. But he really lights up when he's playing with other people. And so it's like that's such a joy. That's such a joy.
I
And
think
he'll do little minor illusions and stuff in between, like at the times that he can. Like if they're singing a ballad, for example, that kind of thing.
I think in every case, Cavendish is not trying to show you up. He's just playing supporting and harmonics and such, just trying to give you the stage, basically.
Yeah, love
Um,
that.
Hold on a minute. I will roll for his performance.
He has help, right, from me.
He does. Okay. Firstly, here's what Cavendish looks like. I realize I need to put his token on the board.
Oh, he's great. Oh, I love that. Look at his little cigar.
Yeah, kind of a middle-aged, very casual, uh, easy living sort of individual. But as you're playing with him, and he kind of like when you're assisting him, he starts taking your lead and then starts doing flourishes as he rolls a 30 on performance.
Haha, we're of a piece. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Uh,
How is Kaisa looking? Is she look entertained?
yeah, she looks entertained. She's almost smiling. Um, but seeing Kaisa actually smile has not happened yet. So,
Sure.
you take what you can get. But she definitely
She's
seems
a
to
tough
be paying
she's a tough
attention
nut
and
to crack.
entertained. Yeah, she's a tough
Yeah.
nut. Uh, okay. Is there anything like the only interruptions basically like you and Cavendish play for like an hour and a half, and then
Tam will play until they make him stop,
well,
basically.
Cavendish stops after about an hour because he's like, I have customers.
Yeah, right.
And he goes back to the bar and to serve the drinks that people were patiently waiting for because the bartender was
Sure.
playing music. But after like they've been there for 5 minutes, Cavendish is like, okay, I need to be done.
Yeah. Yeah, Tam will play for like Tam will play a full like 2.5 hour set.
um,
Mostly requests and stuff like that.
I think what would probably end your set is after a couple more hours, um, there is a shipment that arrives at the back door, and Cavendish
I was
looks up and says,
about to ask.
"Uh, is this for you?" And he holds up a box, like a wooden crate
Yeah.
that's labeled Goldhorn.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, he'll finish with a flourish. He'll finish. I think he would finish with something kind of vaguely. Is there anything? Is there anything? Ooh, I know. Is there anything that's like related to the last king? Not Demeric, but like the king
King
before him,
Strongarm.
like strong arm. Yeah.
Uh,
Like, is there any like song of his house or like ballad of his heroism or something like that
Let
he
me
would close
see
with?
here. I'm pulling up my notes. Let's see. Hold on. Yeah, There is one that was famous for King Strongarm. It was called Steel in the Spine.
Okay, that's what he plays.
Uh, okay. Like the chorus goes like steel in the spine, fire in the soul, strong was the king who made us whole. Like it's a very
Yeah,
much
sure.
like a very shouty, almost
Yeah, sure.
anthem style song. And as soon as you start playing it, everyone in the tavern is singing along.
Yep. Yeah, this is the right song for this crowd.
Yeah, you seem to have hit a note.
Yep. Um, so that he will finish that with a flourish. He will take a bow, and then he will trounce off to pick up the shipment.
uh, okay. So it's simple. You just grab the wooden crate and it is full of incense.
Fantastic.
Uh, are you going to? Do you have a familiar in mind, or are you going to roll for it?
I figured I would roll for it. Um, like, I thought like I've certainly thought about like I feel like a squirrel would fit for him. Um, but I kind of like the idea of letting the dice decide.
Okay. Yeah. Sure. Um, so in the From Nothings, there is a potential to roll a greater familiar.
Oh,
Just like how in Lorna's story, Lorna rolled and got a Kirkagrim. Now, if you would rather just roll for a basic familiar, you totally can, or you can dedicate some time into the ritual and potentially get a greater familiar.
I would love to do a ritual. Tam needs a grounding point right now.
Okay, let's see here. Go ahead and roll me a d8.
7.
Okay, d7. Hold on a minute. Okay, roll me a d100.
62.
Okay. What's your alignment? Is it
Uh,
chaotic good, neutral
chaotic.
good, lawful, neutral?
I think it's chaotic good. Let me double check. Neutral good.
Neutral good. Okay, let's see. Sorry, hold on. I'm sifting through tables here.
You're all good.
Okay. When you consider this ritual of Tam's seeking out uh, a familiar, a spirit, basically, to come be a companion for Tam, what does that ritual look like to you? What do you think it would look like?
I think, I think that the default thing for Tam would be to write a song. But because very specifically I chose wizard school spells because I want to honor his connection to Magos. I think it would be more like the kind of thing that he had to do all the time growing up with the sort of like the sitting quietly and like meditating and like thinking about the weave um, and sort of like pulling on those strings, like imagining them sort of magically through books, like the way that a wizard might. And so I think that like that sort of tug, it would be, I think, still a little bit like a prayer because it's still Tam and he's still raised by clerics, but it would be much more of a like quiet meditation than like a loud raucous song. And I think that it's an interesting like contrast to what he was just doing, which was in honor of the fiddler, to this, which is very much more kind of Mongo's directed.
Okay. As you're performing this ritual, You feel like as you're okay. So I know that Temerity obviously leans toward the fiddler, but he
Yes.
always also thinks back toward Magos a lot. Um,
Yes.
do you think he feels bound to Magos by his history? Or do you think it's
I
more by
think it
choice but out of respect?
I think it was that he felt bound at the beginning of this campaign. Like it's like Magos is like this like god that he was raised to worship that he couldn't shake. But then as he sort of like, I mean, I really expected him to be a glamour bard, and then he wasn't. He was a lore bard. And I think that his whole history with the Merigard had sort of like taught him to go in the direction. It's like he was set on a path and put in a very particular direction of like books and like these are the kinds of things that you should like and that you should care about. And he wanted to care about those things, but he couldn't do it in a way that was like accessible to him. But stories were accessible to him, but it didn't mean that like the tenets of Magos were not still ringing with his soul. And so I think that he like really does respect Magos, um, and kind of like still wants to be a follower in some capacity. It's just that the fiddler takes up more of his sort of spiritual time. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so. I think that makes sense. Uh, okay. All right. Here is what happens as you're concentrating on this ritual and as you complete the initial 10 minutes that Find Familiar would take. You find your spirit is almost just like searching. Like you haven't found a creature or a soul or a spirit that quite aligns with yours. And so you keep looking. Your mind keeps just searching through this cloudy mist that mentally fills the theater of your mind. And as you're searching and looking and listening, you hear the rustle of paper. And it has, the only way I can describe it is like a creativity about it. Um,
Hmm.
the rustle of paper almost feels as though it's creating something as you're listening, and you kind of chase it. Um,
Sure.
as you're looking, you find a pair of black eyes that look as though they were drawn on parchment, looking at you from the ether, from this magical environment that you imagine is likely akin to Magos's realm of Arcadia, except where will shapes things there, you are here in the prime material. And as you're searching, you hear a voice. You called.
I did. Hi, friend.
Who are you?
My name is Temerity. Who are you?
I don't. Well, this is new. I've not got a name.
Names are powerful. Do you want one?
Okay.
Well, I don't know you yet, and they're very important. So, I would like to know more about you if you're going to have a name.
Okay. You feel looked upon as suddenly there is these tiny pinpricks where you're seated doing this ritual. You feel like a poking a sharp sensation in both of your knees.
Sure. Can I? I'm still like I imagine his eyes are still closed.
Yeah,
Uh,
your eyes are shut at the moment.
can I kind of reach out to uh, this prickly creature with little eyes?
As you reach out, you feel it's a little cool to the touch, and it feels almost like the sensation that you could imagine of touching liquid mercury. Your
Whoa.
fingers feel like they're touching liquid, except they don't wet, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, sure.
Uh, when you do touch that, you hear, it tickles.
Oh, you're ticklish, huh?
Uh, you also
And
are keenly aware that you smell the metallic. It's a pretty pleasant smell. You recognize it as the smell of ink.
are you are you a writer, friend?
Uh, you hear, I can. Do you want me to?
You must have a lot of stories.
I do.
Would you write me a story?
Oh, sure. Uh, the you get this emotional wave of excitement when you ask for a story. Uh, do you? Well, do you open your eyes?
Yeah, I mean, if I think the ritual is done, sure.
No, the ritual's still going.
Oh, the ritual's still going. No,
Yes.
I don't open my eyes.
Okay. All right. One moment. Okay. Roll me a d4, please.
Okay. Four.
4. You see a story written out before you as if ink brought to life, and it says, once there was a scribe who lived alone in a tower of parchment and silence. He was charged with recording the lives of kings, the rise and fall of empires, and the weight of every oath made beneath the stars. But the scribe was tired. He had seen too much cruelty passed off as legacy, too many tyrants given titles by ink alone. So he began to lie, just a little. He wrote of a tyrant who wept at the fall of his people, of a queen who chose peace over pride, of a war that ended not with fire, but with a song. The world did not notice at first, but something did. A truth-born thing from the space between written words, a creature made not of memory, but of meaning. It crawled from the spine of his journal and whispered, if you lie so beautifully, I will follow you forever. So the scribe died, and I remained. I remember his fictions. I make them true where I can. That's what it says.
So you're, is that your story?
You kind of get like a wave of confusion, and then the entity says, I don't know. I know it.
It's like a fable. Well, do you want to find out together if it's your story?
I think a tale for a tale is only fitting.
Oh, okay. Well, uh, Tam will tell him the story of his sword, um, of the Soul Singer, and also and he'll basically it's gonna be basically the same story that he told for his final project, where like he'll go through the whole history, of the Soul Singer blade and where she comes from, and how she ended up in his hands, And at that point, he'll start telling his own story about the Marigard and sort of. I don't know if he has access to Soul Singer still in the like world of the ritual, but like he'll hold it out in his hands if he can.
So as you think about it, it suddenly like creates itself in your fingertips.
That's awesome.
Roll me a persuasion check, because this is not a fiction. You can roll it with advantage because you're using Soul Singer here,
Okay.
which is good because you rolled a 2.
That's an 18. That's not very good.
With an 18, I like that story.
I do too.
That story rings of hope and promise. Coming from something dark to become something new and good. I'd like to see the end.
Thank you. I would too. Do you want to come with me for it?
Sure. And you feel, as soon as that ascent happens, the ritual ends. And you feel this connection to an entity that is unendingly creative, and its imagination, like, you're getting waves of emotional bombardment as it has new ideas and then immediately crushes them to replace them with another new idea that they it's like ADHD in
It's like
living
ADHD.
form.
Yeah. Yep. This is what a perfect familiar for Tam.
You open your eyes and you see this. It is
Whoa, little ink dragon?
It is a small dragon-shaped creature that is made of ink, and you see that its claws are the tips of quills.
Whoa.
You can roll a Arcana check if you want to try and understand what it is you're looking at.
I would, and I rolled another 7. 14.
14. Well, actually roll me a religion check.
Oh, I love that for me. I'm not as good at religion, hilariously.
Well.
No, actually, I am now because of my headband. Ha, that's much better. 25.
Okay, a moment. With a 25, you recognize something that you've read from references and histories about the afterlife. Or rather, the promised afterlives. What you realize as you're looking at a celestial entity that can be found frequently in the domains of Myriad, Magos, or the Fiddler.
Oh my god. All 3 gods that he has personally talked to.
Yeah.
Crazy. I love that. Thank you, Dice.
You did sway it by saying you were neutral good.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was random.
That's
You
phenomenal.
rolled a celestial, you rolled out of that pantheon. I was like, okay. Here you are.
That's what's happening.
You know this is called an ink drake.
Wow.
They are
Oh my
created when individuals of immense creativity have unfinished stories when they die. Ink drakes flock to their spirits and create their stories for them.
That's awesome. Do I have any sense of like what an ink drake can do?
Their abilities are similar to fairy dragons, except all around. Well, they're creative and they're imaginative, and they enjoy fun and playing pranks on people. So
Sure.
their typical abilities include an ink breath, which can blind enemies. They have bites and claw attacks that can deal poison damage based on ink. And they also can cast Silent Image just as they want.
A spell that Tam was very sad to let go of himself. That's perfect.
Though
Um,
typically their silent images are their stories and writings.
sure, that makes sense. Oh, friend, look at you. Look at your gloriousness. We're gonna tell so
I
many
mean,
stories.
so many. You don't have to flatter me.
I'm not flattering you. I've never seen anything like you before, and that's awesome.
I think we're going to have a good time.
I think so too. Um, would you prefer to name yourself? Because I have an idea.
Let's hear your idea, and if I don't like it, I have another one.
Okay. You told me a fable. Do you want to be called Fable?
Hmm. Sure.
The other option I thought of was you have ink claws and you write things down. So Scrivener also came to mind, but that's maybe a little less fun.
Yeah, I like Fable better.
All right, let's do
My
that.
idea was Sketch, but I think I like Fable much better.
I love it. Well, thank you for joining me, friend. Where would you like? Let's see. What do you need? What would you like? What would you like? You need paper, yes?
I mean, I don't need paper. I can write on anything.
Okay. We're in a space right now where we're guests, so it might be good to keep it clean for right now. Um,
As you're
and I
talking,
don't.
he's not paying attention. He has put a claw to his forehead, and you see a wind of ink suddenly pulled from it. And as he pulls this black threaded ink that looks like it's a wisp, he flicks it, and it becomes like a solid line, and he hands it to you.
Oh, what's this?
For when you want to remember this story.
I
You
love
realize
it.
you realize it's encode thoughts. He has just encoded that memory.
That's amazing. Yeah, Tam will. Can Tam tie that around his horn?
The encode thoughts thread? Sure.
Yeah, like a little ribbon. Yeah.
Yeah, you can do that. I've never considered the tensile strength of an encode thoughts thought, but I don't mind. Sure.
Can I? Do you want to sit on my shoulder, or would you prefer to what something else, or just fly beside me? What would you prefer?
Uh, he hops up onto your shoulder, sits on his haunches, and you feel like cold and wet where he's sitting on your shoulder. But you're not actually getting wet. It just feels like that as he seems to be
Sure.
composed of ink. And you watch as you don't know if it's real or an illusion, but a piece of parchment is suddenly in one claw, quill claw, and the other he's like inscribing something on it.
Oh, what are
This
you
will
writing
do.
now?
Um, I had an idea.
I love it. Is it? Can you tell me, or do you want to wait until it's finished?
Well, it's rainy around this tavern, and that's the perfect place for a creative mind to flourish. So,
That's
I don't know why, but there's something about you that sings about someone from another world, lost and hopeful, finding a new place where they hope they belong.
yeah, that seems very close to my experience.
Huh. I'll let you know when it's finished.
Okay. Do you want to go downstairs and meet my friends?
Okay. You watch as the
Uh,
parchment vanishes, and he looks expectantly.
okay. Tam, give me 2 seconds. Tam will bow his head quickly and say a little prayer of thanks to Magos in particular, because he can tell that this is something that, like, even though it's all three of the realm, I guess he'll say thank you to all three of the gods that this Ink Drake kind of he's in all three because he's had contact with all three of them. So he'll kind of direct his prayer of thanks to all of them and tell them that he'll take good care of their steward. He'll be a good steward for this companion.
Okay. You send that prayer outwards. Roll me a wisdom check plus proficiency.
Okay, not as good at that. Wisdom and proficiency, so that would be insight. Not bad. 19.
Okay.
Touch his little pair of holy symbols as he does it.
Roll me a d6.
Ooh, interesting. Six.
You hear a voice in your head, and there is a divine presence, but it is much more lax than your other interactions have been. And you hear, "Is that where that little sprout? Very well. Enjoy his company."
I will. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Was that Magos or was
No, that
that
was Myriad.
Okay, that checks out.
That's apparently the realm that this ink drake popped out of.
Okay.
You decided that now. That
All right.
d6.
Awesome. Okay. Great. All right. I love that for Tam, honestly. He's sort of got like a little bit of all three of the gods that he kind of is most resonant with.
Mm-hmm.
Um he will get up very excited. He also will say, like, kind of turn to Fable on his shoulder and say, do you eat anything in particular? Um,
I
like,
like to.
what do you like?
Sweets and berries and jellies and preserves and, tasty things.
Wheat spell, yeah, excellent. You have great taste.
I
Um,
know.
I bet we can get you. I bet you we can get you some jam or something downstairs. Um, so Tam will excitedly kind of like go downstairs with Fable on his shoulder and look around for his team so he can introduce his familiar.
Yeah. Okay. It's hard to miss. This black ink dragon, ink drake. I'm gonna get that right. Is just seated on your shoulder. It is a small creature, so it's occupying a lot of your shoulder, and like the tail winds down behind you. Its wings, made of parchment, are folded up behind it. It's hard to miss as you emerge. I think Sagona is the only one who has a chance of. Oh, and Sagona says, "What the fuck is that?"
This is Fable. I have a familiar now.
Wix, who has returned to the table after finishing her meditations, apparently, she says, "Oh, he's handsome."
Isn't he just?
Stop it. Stop it, all of you.
Really creative too.
Fable seems to, like, bat his claw in a oh hush gesture and then resumes writing on parchment. And Hiram is... Normally, it's kind of hard to get Hiram to look interested in anything. He kind of just does his own thing all the time. Only now, as Fable is on your shoulder, you notice that he's staring at this ink drake.
Hey Hiram, do you know a lot about animals? Do you already know what an ink drake is?
No. I've never seen anything like this.
I hadn't either.
Me neither, says Wash, who's like right next to you and looking up at this and creature on your shoulder. Did you... So you got a familiar out of a celestial plane and they're all right with it?
Yeah, I asked permission.
Well, fuck me. It's gonna take a drink.
Um, apparently, this is it came from Myriad, but this is apparently ink drakes are also pretty native to the celestial plains of Magos and the Fiddler. So I guess they were okay with me having one for a while.
I guess. Consider yourself lucky they're not. Well, I guess they wouldn't care, would they? It's not
What?
from. Sigona's like, you see, she's like puzzling through how the fuck this has happened. And
Are you
Wix next to
okay?
you says, huh?
Go ahead. I was gonna ask Hiram if he was okay because he doesn't usually stare.
He just nods as he's looking at the ink drake. And Wix says, does he know all the tricks of any other familiar? You know, like the beast sense and changing form and such? And she's like just looking at him.
I think Fable can probably speak for himself. What do you think, Fable?
Hmm? I wasn't listening. What?
Wix was asking if you can like change your form and
Oh,
have
yeah, yeah,
beast
yeah.
stuff like that.
Easy peasy. And Wix just nods and says, okay, I didn't mean to offend. I'm sorry. And the ink drake once again looks up and says, hmm? I'm sorry, I wasn't listening.
He's pretty focused on writing his stories. He's a little distractible.
And from next to you, you just hear, there once was a cartographer who sought to map the world entire. From, nope, bad start. There's
I
like
love
an
it.
illusory of him crumbling up a parchment and then generating a new one. He just,
Are all these are all these ideas coming from the same place?
hmm, um, my bean.
Interesting.
Wherever ideas come from there, I guess.
Yeah, I guess they come from a lot of places. Let's go get you some berries or something.
Okay. And Fable like puts the parchment down and looks up like you have given him something he's more interested in.
He'll go. Tam will go up to Cabby and be like, "Hey, what sweet things could I get for my familiar here?"
Hmm. Oh, well, we have lots of raspberries because I was going to try and get some raspberry pie made, but I kind of stopped when all this battening down happened. Would you
Oh
like
boy,
raspberries?
would you like raspberries, Fable?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's. I we
Oh, is this
let's
a
not let them
question?
go to waste. Let's not let them go to waste.
All right. Cabby like goes back and like leaves the bar and goes to the kitchen and then comes back with a small wooden crate of raspberries and brings it over to the counter and says, "Well, the crate cost me a gold and a half. Do you mind covering that?"
Yeah, I don't mind covering that.
Then here you go. They're all yours.
All right. Okay, cool. So he'll give him a gold and 5 silver, and call everybody over and be like, "Hey, we got some raspberries for everybody, but
But mostly me.
especially
Mostly me.
but especially for Fable."
Uh, Fable the Ink Drake sits down next to the crate, tail like winding up around him, and he uses his quill-like claws to spear a raspberry and just very respectfully bring it to his mouth, where he devours it whole, and does that one at a time. It seems with
Love it.
some dignity. Wash is like watching him, and she says in Aquan, "Oh, like he's so cute."
And Tam responds in Aquan, I don't know how I got so lucky. It's great.
I think someone up there is looking out for you.
I mean, I think I think maybe multiple someones.
She just kind of like nudges you with her shoulder and says, "You better take care of it."
I sure will. Yeah, absolutely. We gotta be
As
real careful.
Fable like plucks a raspberry between his teeth, he says in Aquan, "I understand you."
Oh, good. Hey, look, Wash. You can talk to Fable in your native tongue if you want.
Wash like leans over and she says to Fable, "You're adorable. Can I hug you?" And Fable just
Oh my God, that's so
looks
cute.
up and says, "No." And Wash just like pouts, her head drops, and she just like looks very sad. And Fable like nudges a raspberry over to her before eating another
That's
one.
that's so cute.
One day, Wash says, and then picks up the raspberry.
No, she has a goal now. I love
Yeah,
it.
one day is to hug Fable, apparently.
There's a hug Fable. I love it. What an awesome, excellent new side of Wash also that I like very much. She's
uh,
such a badass. Like she's great. She's just she's not. I don't usually associate her with hugging creatures.
sure, makes sense to me.
Can I do like an insight check on Hiram? Is there like does he seem upset that there's a dragon? Like as if, like there's something bad about dragons, or is it just that he
Roll an insight check.
I can't that's the third out of 20 I've rolled this session. That's wild.
Hiram seems fascinated. It's clear he's never seen anything like this before. It looks to you like he's studying it.
Okay.
Like his face has an intent focus. It's like he's cataloging every detail as Fable is moving and eating raspberries and drawing on magically procured quill and parchment. Um, he doesn't seem anything other than interested. There's no
Love it.
animosity. There's no hostility. Hiram just looks intrigued.
Excellent. Okay. Tam is intrigued too, but he's not going to like call attention to the fact that he noticed this. Um, okay. And Sagona still trying to like puzzle out like how did this happen?
No, at this point, she's basically accepted it. She is kind of looking at you, and she does say, "So, you got a celestial spirit to occupy a familiar for you, and it took the form of a celestial life writer.
Huh?
What happens next?
What do you mean what happens next?
Like, are you bound to do anything? Or is he just here?"
What do you mean am I bound to do anything? He's just here. He's a familiar.
Well, okay, but
I said thank you to the three gods that he could have come from, and Myriad said, "Ah, that's where he went. Enjoy having a companion."
okay. Just in my records from the histories that I've read and such, it's celestials don't often let things go without some sort of catch.
Oh, well, no one told me that there was one.
They would tell you if there was, so I don't know, I guess it's nothing to worry about. This is new.
Yeah. Um, I don't know. I mean,
You,
I
like,
guess they
as
like
you're puzzling through it, Fable looks up at Skona and says, "You worry too much." Okay, that's a first.
Oh, yeah, wow. She sounds Fable, you sound like me. That's usually your job to tell me that.
Sigona's just like is shaking her head and sits down on a bar stool and says, "I need a drink."
There we go. That's just a gun we know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hurry with the mead. Cabby's okay. Uh,
Um, I mean, I'm not really a stranger to accepting gifts that have catches. He kind of looks down a little bit sadly at Soul Singer. Um, but I think it's okay. I
you,
think,
Fable just says, I'm worth it.
yeah, you clearly are. You don't like to be hugged. Can I pet your head, or is that not allowed? Will that distract you?
Oh, you can hug me.
Oh, okay.
Just
I'm not gonna
not
do
when I'm
that
trying to
until,
write, because it'll...
yeah, it'll mess up the ink. Absolutely. Tam will sort of like like pet the top of his head with one finger.
It's very strange feeling. It's... uh, but as you do, you see like one wing slightly unfurls, and you hear, oh, okay. Yeah, that's nice. I can't reach that spot.
Well, now you have a friend to reach it for you.
And then the door to Cavies opens, and Sergeant Torin enters.
Oh, excellent. Oh, look, it's our contact. Tam will straighten up, go over to Sergeant Edie and ask, like, see what's up.
The safe house is secured.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
It has been a trying day.
I imagine.
Have any of you heard anything regarding activities of the Gold's Watch? And he's like looking at Kaiser across the room as he says it. I understand she was one of them. I'm hoping to lean on maybe some connections or network. I need to know what they're doing next. Kaiser,
Kaiser, do
like,
you know anything?
she shrugs and she says, Ah, not especially. I can't really go out and walk the beat right now. I haven't had my ear to the ground in a couple days now because I've been holed up here. But I know that Tram 131 is probably coming in again tonight. So, you might be able to get some more evidence if you lay a trap, get some guards ready, put some arrests down. Sergeant Edie is... Well, he's not a very emotive person. But as Kaiser finishes saying that, he says, I'll make arrangements. In the meantime, I'm going to go see what else I can find out about the Mint.
Is there anything we can do? I don't think there is much from here, huh?
No, all of you need to stay safe. I wanted to deliver the message about the safe house personally, though.
I appreciate it. I know that everybody there does too.
I know. As you were, when Sergeant Torin turns and he leaves. Oh, he's a man of few words. You hear Kraber from, like, the corner room.
Yeah, he seems to be, but he's on a mission, and that's good.
It's good to have him focused. Hopefully he can actually get word to the Justicar before everything's a problem.
You think anything... Do you think the Justicar is in danger?
That would be foolish. If Demerick and his loyalists acted against the Justicar, well, let's just say they'd be, it's not precedented, from what I understand. It would be anarchy.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I don't think the city would sit idly by while Demerick tried to turn this into a dictatorship.
That's good news. So he has to abide by the law, then.
Oh, yes.
Are there any updates about um, the person coming to help with all of this? The precious
The
the new
VIP.
yes,
He's en route. I know that.
that's good news.
Don't know
We
when.
don't know where. Okay.
We know that he left his safe haven a few days ago.
Okay. Well, that's good news. I mean, if nothing else, we got to wait out the case and wait a little longer and see if he can show up, make his claim.
That's the truth. If things don't go smoothly, though, well, with all this evidence that we've been piling up to make our own case, might make things a little easier.
I hope so. It just feels frustrating to have to sit on our hands now after being able.
Tam, I have a question.
What's that?
What the hell is that? He
Oh.
points at Fable.
This is Fable. He's a Nick Drake. He's my familiar.
Hello. I see. Okay. Sure.
This is Mr. Alacaster Craver. He's very important.
You look like it. Okay. Thank you. I'm going to get back to planning. He goes back into his office. Now, Tam, you have some time, basically, to do whatever you want.
Oh gosh.
It's like noon.
It's noon, huh?
Yes.
Gosh, what would Tam do? We're not in a place that has a lot of books, so he can't do a lot of research. I think
No, I'm
he
afraid
does
not.
have a dice set. I think he would try to strike up. I think he would try to strike up some games with his teammates and also try to pull Kaiser in if possible.
Yeah, you can pass the time by just doing some recreation. That's totally fine.
Cards, dice,
Yeah.
talking,
Yeah.
kind of thing.
You do that. Time
He wants
passes.
he wants to get to know Wix better too. That kind of just sort of sociable but not pressuring
Sure.
conversation.
Okay. So you kind of have a table going on of dice and such. Hold on.
I think he is also kind of keenly aware of it seems like the biggest threat now is if somebody gets bored and they get got, and he doesn't think that his team will do that necessarily, but he's also kind of keeping an eye on is any other people that might be bored and be kind of thinking about going out for a quick drink or something like that.
Sure.
He wants to try to keep the vibe light and pleasant.
Roll me a straight charisma roll.
Sure. Pretty good. 22.
Yeah, with a 22, you keep your allies entertained for a few hours. Sometime during the mix, you see Captain You see Torin reappear, and he goes into the side room where Kraber and Kraber are planning and talking. And he stays in there as you guys are playing dice and such.
Okay, so he keeps an eye on the fact that they're they're doing that.
Yeah,
Okay.
you can see there's like an open door leading into that side room where the Kravers are set up with their table. You can see them talking, and you see Kraber like gesturing to the table, and you get the impression they're giving Elias the rundown, basically.
Sure. That's what. Yeah, I figured eventually that they would. That makes sense. That's hopeful. What
Uh,
is Fable just sort of like, has he been just like scribbling this whole time, or does he pull pranks on anybody, or like?
he has been writing on your shoulder the whole time,
Okay,
and
got
occasionally he comments and quips about what people are talking about, and he's pretty
it.
snarky, but he just basically says like he just stays there.
I imagine if he's addressed, he's like, I'm not paying attention. What are you talking? What did you say?
Yeah, whether he is actually paying attention or not is he might be lying. Who knows?
Yeah, right.
But he seems to evade being the subject as best he can.
Love that.
Uh, as time passes, it pushes on later and later into the day until it gets to the evening. Roll me a perception check.
Okay. It's another 22 or 21.
21. You hear bells. They are distant bells. They sound like emergency bells coming from maybe east, northeast. You're not sure. As you hear them, you see Elias like emerge from the side room. Those are fire bells.
Oh no.
You see he
Oh no.
like lets out a sigh. I need to answer that.
The carriage house?
Not likely. That's north. Those bells are farther east. That must be the East Bastion Tower. None of you move. He runs out the building, basically. As soon as Elias leaves the tavern, you hear his heavy plate as he runs down the street. You hear him calling to other city guard, saying, "Answer the emergency! On me, follow!" And he's just running, and you hear the "yes, sir!" and like people running after him to follow. In this moment, after Sergeant Elias and some of the other city guards are running, Kaisa says, "It's raining. Heavily.
Why would there be fire bells?
Well, there might be a fire, but it's not one that was an accident."
Yeah, certainly not. They're trying to draw him out.
Kaisa like goes and looks out the window, and she's looking. Hold on.
Hey, buddy. Fable, do you think you can catch up with him?
Huh? Catch up with
Do you
who?
think? So Elias just left here, and we think that it's a trap.
Oh. You want me to go look?
Could you maybe keep an eye on him?
Yeah. Okay.
Be safe. And the problem is that we're kind of stuck here. So be real safe, okay? Be real careful.
You watch as Fable, like, flies over to the front door, and then instead of opening the door, he turns into like a line of ink that presses between the gaps of the door and then goes out.
That's wild. I love that.
He leaves to follow. Okay.
I would send Kian, but I don't have him.
Yeah. Uh, as... Let me actually move you to a different map. This is Cavi's bar, or the map of it, anyway.
Yep.
As you've sent Fable to go keep track of Sergeant Elias to figure out what happened. And a few minutes pass, you hear mentally, I see him. He's running.
Okay. Is he, we think that he's maybe running, the fire is maybe set on purpose, maybe to draw him out.
I see a lot of smoke up ahead.
Okay. Can I cast, do I have message? No, I message.
Oh, let me,
Okay.
he's not here. I just...
Keep an eye on him. Let us know what's happening. If you can communicate with him, if you can like maybe let him know it might be a trap somehow, that would be great. Proceed with caution.
Okay, I'll try.
I'm worried. I'm real worried that they might go after him.
Fable doesn't say anything to that. Just, you kind of feel this emotion of intense focus and concentration. As that happens, rain is still coming down. And you hear... Suddenly, and everyone in your party looks up at this voice that suddenly calls out from outside. Tam of the Merryguard, by decree of his radiance, King Ease Demerick, you and your companions are hereby summoned for questioning under suspicion of sedition, forgery, and unlawful interference with national commerce. And, like, hearing that, Kraber, like, pokes out the door. What? He's looking at you. Like, is there any recognition on Tam's face right now?
Nope, he shakes his head.
Come out peacefully and no harm will come to your crew. Resisting will be taken as an admission of guilt.
Tam will kind of say to Kraber quietly, I think they're trying to cast suspicion on us before we turn over anything on them.
They don't have
Scared.
the authority. That doesn't make any sense at all. They're not the guard. Unless something changed. You see Annabelle, like, appears next to Kraber. And they're both, like, looking for something. Kraber, like, goes over to the front door and he peers out the frosted glass arch that's in the top of it. This summons is sanctioned by the Council of Justices. Lay down your weapons and present yourselves. You have 1 minute.
I'm part of the Merryguard. We're not affiliated with anybody. How could I be seditious to a country I'm not even a citizen of?
Kraber shrugs and as he's looking out the door and he says, there is no Council of Justices. You're not going out there. This is a trap. Let's see what they do at the end of a minute.
Okay.
And he steps away from the door. And as he does, he like gets around this corner and he gestures for Annabelle to do much the same. And Annabelle like gets over towards him. And then Alacaster looks over at Turk and he says, Mr. Turk, now is the time.
Oh, shit.
And Turk nods. You see he like puts a finger to his forehead. And suddenly 3 barrels that are innocuously placed in corners of the room suddenly emerge, rifles standing out,
Incredible.
like winding and turning, and you hear as clockwork like pulls them into directions as they aim different places.
Tam's gonna kind of reposition because he's anticipating an attack, and he'll kind of look at his allies. I mean, hopefully they don't do anything dumb, but we should be prepared.
I want you all to know, Cavi says from behind the bar as he's picking up the fiddle again, if anything happens to my bar, I'm taking it personally.
I understand. We gotta make sure whatever damage happens here is limited. Hopefully they'll be smart.
Kramer nods along with you and he says, if they decide to attack, the bill's on them. This is a civilian location, after all. We've just added a few decorations. When he says that, suddenly there is the breaking of windows. Many of them.
From upstairs or
from
around?
This floor. Immediately by Kaiza, this window crashes inward. And as it does, well, it's no longer a window. And revealing themselves outside the window in the same moment are several Gold's Watch soldiers. But what reveals them is the sudden burst of light as a flask of alchemist fire crashes on the floor. You hear more crashes coming out of windows as flasks of alchemist fire are thrown into the tavern. Immediately following, well, you hear...
Bill's on them.
Yep. You hear, "You're brave on the page, Tam. Let's see how you answer in person." Tam.
Initiative?
I need you and your party to roll initiative.
I should have cast Detect Thoughts to figure out how many of them there were and where they were. That would have been smart. 22.
22. Okay. I'm going to roll for everyone in this encounter. It's going to be a lot of dice.
Bazillion dice.
Okay. As the dice have struck, we have our initiative order.
Hooray! Oh no, alchemist fire on everybody. Is Nock still here? I see him in the corner.
Yeah, he's under fire right now. Oh no, I'm sorry. Peck, the herbalist, is on fire right now. Let me go ahead and move these. All right. As we have our initiative, as the Gold's Watch have apparently come to play, this is where we're going to call tonight's session, because we do not have time to run this whole encounter.
Yeah, of course not. This is a tomorrow. This is the next session problem. Oh man. Oh man. Poor Cavi's bar. Bill is on them. The bill is on them.
The bill is on them. All right. Thank you for playing with me tonight, Emily. I hope you had a good time. To those of you, you got a familiar. I didn't expect it to be an ink drake, but you got a familiar. As we come to the end of the session, I want to thank you for playing with me. And to those of you who are at home or at work watching, hi Penn, hi class, hi Emily, hi everybody else. We love you all, and I wish you a good night.